Hello, Fightful Faithful. Welcome to another episode of the Fightful Graps NXT After Party Post Show deal. It's with me and with the old Miss Kate Fabe. Hey, Kate.
Hi, Alex.
Hey, remember how last week I said, what if this is as good as it gets?
That was as good as it gets.
What if that was as good as NXT 2.0 can possibly be? That was my question last week. I have a slightly different question this week. Was tonight's episode the worst episode in the history of NXT television? I can't think of any that approach it. I'm sure there have been, but they've all faded from memory. So how bad could they have been? I will remember how terrible this episode was for the rest of my life.
Well, that was almost like worth it in a way then, because at least it set a new standard
at least
for how bad something can get. I'm trying to think. It would definitely be in this era. And like, I don't even know if there's anything that I can remember from WWE ECW that was this bad. This was really bad, Alex. This was real bad.
Really bad, and it's just because they decided. Apparently, between last week and this week, they decided we'd like to do a bunch of backstage comedy skits, but we haven't hired anybody who knows how to do that, and we won't actually hire anybody who knows how to train them to do that. So we're just gonna put these people who have no business trying to do comedy skits. It's like somebody decided to try and do like SNL backstage with the Beach, like with that guy. Like that guy has no like. Okay, hey everybody, if you agree or disagree, get in your super chats and humper chats.
There you go.
Send in those things and we'll talk about it. Mark Losper was good enough to actually get us an extra half hour for the whole month of February. And we're going to need it tonight because I got a lot of things to say.
We are. So get in your super chats, get in your humper chats at humperchats.com because, we need a little bit more of the pie. The more money we keep, it seems like we're able to literally buy time. And you know what you need in order to hump, Alex?
What?
You need a boner. And there were boner jokes on the show.
There was, yep, there, yes.
But in order to keep that boner or to get that boner in the first place,
yeah,
we're going to remind you that this show was brought to you by Blue Chew in part, and we're going to hit you off the top with some words from our friend Sean Ross Sapp.
Your penis is soft. Let me help. Not like that. BlueChew.com. Code FIGHTFUL. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but it's ready when you are or when you're not. It's not about having a problem. It's about having that performance, that excellent performance, that confidence. Fill out their online questionnaire. You'll work with an online physician. You won't have to wait in line at the pharmacy or the doctor's office. It's shipped discreetly and directly to you, and you get that first shipment free when you use that code FIGHTFUL at checkout. You want to be confident, don't you? You want that pay-per-view, that main event performance. Don't let yourself or somebody else down. Use BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
The reason we hit you so early with the Blue Chew ad was two reasons. One, we have two sponsors tonight, which is a wonderful thing for us. And two, I think the boner joke on top of the BBC joke might have been the lowest point in the history of the show and maybe wrestling.
It's definitely top 3.
It's definitely up there. So I just thought, let's get that started. Let's get that out of the way. We had to do it in hour 1 anyway. And since we were talking about how this is the lowest of lows, that boner joke made me feel ashamed to be a wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll talk about it because there's a whole through line that it's very important you understand the context of the boner joke. Kate, there's absolutely there's in character reasons for it and a situation that could only arise. What we had was what they call a situation comedy, better known as a sitcom. Oh, the kind of ribald boner humor could only have happened because the situation fell into their laps, literally. So yes, let's start with a few of your Humper and Super Chats. Jade Pringle continues the saga, saying, Part 1, as a heel, Paul Elizabeth Hensler, this week I hit you where it counts, the Fields. A donation has been made in your name to St. Jude's. This is 100% real. Kate has proof. Take that, you great guy. Part 2, normal. Thanks for playing along in this bit. I'll keep going if you will. I'm having a blast with it. The donation was made because you've been awesome.
Legitimately, the wonderful JW Pringle respectfully slid into the DMs, which I appreciate because not all you do that.
That's true.
And asked if there was an organization that my parents give to, and they give to St. Jude's. And he said, on your dad's birthday in November, I'm going to do that. And then he just hot-shotted it and was like, you know what? This bit rules. Yep. And he appreciated his participation in it. And my dad is still undefeated. Mm-hmm. And now St. Jude's is richer. Thank you to Mark Losper. Or not Mark Losper.
Well, thank you to him, too.
Thank you to him for buying us an extra half hour of time tonight. But thank you to JW Pringle for doing that. That was so kind. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah. Shazarn says, tipping just to spite SRS and keep the show going longer. Greetings from Australia. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And Mark Losper says, and you thought you'd have nothing to talk about for the extra half hour. Oh boy. So
it was actually nice of them to be like, oh, Kate and Alex have an extra half hour. Why don't we put on an absolute stinker of an episode?
Yeah.
So that they'll have content that they can do for without having to reach, you know what I mean? So it's just like important.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. So Amancito Gomez says, hope Team Kalex agrees that NXT is better than Raw or SmackDown. And he says that come on, Kalex, Raw and SmackDown ain't better than this. And he says,
"No, we didn't say that."
No. Listen,
none of us said that. This is a completely
different thing. Raw and SmackDown are a different animal. Like this is something like Raw and SmackDown aren't trying to make their backstage segments into sitcoms. Like that's not a thing they're trying to do. They're not doing it with way less seasoned talent. Like it's just a completely different kind of thing.
And you could have just left that sentence as Raw and SmackDown aren't trying, and then just stop.
True.
So
that's true.
Mark Losper now in on the bit. I like free things. JW Pringle rocks.
Yeah. Taylor Cannon says, I hope I'll enjoy you guys more than NXT. Thank you for watching NXT so I don't have to. I miss the black and gold era. We all do. Every single day of my life.
I wake up in the morning. I tell Alexa. I can't say it because it'll trigger.
Because it'll happen,
like,
yeah.
Turn off my alarm, baby girl. And I wake up and there's just like a black and gold void in my heart.
Yeah.
Every morning.
Mark Losper says, this is the second episode of this wretched show that I actually watched. Why the hell does this show exist? I don't know. And I'll bet you USA Network doesn't know why the hell it exists either.
Here's the scary thing, because this is the future.
This is the future. This is what they want. They want this.
It's so bad, Alex. It's so bad.
Yeah. And Losper also says, after Corey Taylor from Slipknot, right? He said he doesn't watch 2.0 because Slipknot was a big part of the black and gold of the skull on raven wings type
1.5.
Yeah. He said, I went back, Losper went back and watched the We Are Not Your Kind trailer from 2019. Sad to consider how many of those incredible talents were screwed by this company. Also, Velveteen Dream is hard to look at in retrospect. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, one of those deals. So we'll get to more of these. We're open all night. Throw this out here. Throw us your humper and super chats.
Leave us a thumbs up because we're gonna try so hard, guys. we're gonna try.
We're gonna try and make this good
for you.
Yeah, we're trying to make this good. Okay. So the only thing that I was really looking forward to all night was the opening match.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, well, I mean, I guess Breaker and Ciampa teaming together could be interesting if they don't do too much drama of, can they coexist? And that was the main event. But the opening match was the 6-man tag, Imperium versus Diamond Mine. And they introduced, please welcome Gunther and the NXT Tag Champions, Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner, and the crowd immediately broke out into a Walter chant that went forever. And I think they turned down the mics on the crowd for a bit, but that didn't matter because anytime he was in the ring, they came back with Walter, and this is never going to go away, and I hope it doesn't, because it's just a way of it, and when Walter first heard the chants, you could see him gulp. Because I'm like, I hope you don't think this reflects poorly on you, sir. This isn't. We're talking to your bosses, because this is just an act of civil disobedience to try and make everybody recognize that you can't pull the wool over us anymore. I think is what the crowd was doing. What do you think?
I think that's what the crowd was doing. I also think that Walter Gunther is probably a performer that takes pride in his performance and character and gives a crap if it's good, unlike his bosses. So he is going to take that a little bit to heart, which is rough. It's kind of like not that different from what CM Punk chants are now that Punk is actually back. Yeah. Like it used to be CM Punk chants where we want CM Punk back. And then they were like, well, we can't do what chants through an entire thing. So we'll just chant CM Punk's name. There were those at Royal Rumble, which is sad. But this is kind of in the vein of that, in my opinion, of it's a rejection of bad creative. And the whole reboot is a reboot that nobody asked for, and rebooting a character that was already so established and so integral just makes no sense. So I don't think it's a reflection of him, but I'm not surprised he took that personally because I think he gives a shit. And I think there's an inherent artist thing where you're like, if I'm good enough, I can make anything work. And I don't know if any artist, I don't know if Van Gogh, I don't know if Mozart, I don't know if Walter can make Gunther work. And it's also very new, right? So hopefully they either switch it back or it goes away eventually, because I don't want all of his matches to be overshadowed, but I do want people's voices to be heard. So you don't want it to affect that guy.
Well, because the thing about it is that we know for a fact that that the Vince McMahon regime isn't really good at looking inward. Isn't really good at looking in the mirror and taking responsibility for terrible things that they've done. They like to blame the talent. So Gunther, you're not getting your new name over. So now we're going to bury you.
And God forbid he suggested it swing back the other way, then he has an attitude problem. So
that's the I don't want this to be a thing where it becomes obvious that every time they chant Walter, he gets in trouble backstage. That would be bad. Let's not do that to one of the greatest wrestlers of a generation. However, if they get angry at him enough, maybe he can go and ply his trade elsewhere, where he could actually, not be insulted by this kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. The match was fine. I really like the Creed brothers. I think that they're doing really well. I think that Roderick Strong remains the very best hand they've got. And Imperium's just amazing. All three of them. They work really, really, really well as a trio. I liked seeing the kids get in there and get some shine with Walter. I thought that it was it's Walter power bombed the bigger of the two lads. I believe that's Brutus Creed. Power bombed him to pick up the victory with a very odd looking pinfall combination where he kind of he Supermaned that hoe. It was a very, very odd thing to look at in retrospect, but yeah, so it was just very interesting to me. But yeah, it was but there's no shame in losing to Walter. And it furthers my thoughts that the Creeds are going to win the Dusty Cup, and then they're going to go on and have a match with Imperium, which they might win. You might actually tell that story that these guys are the new dudes in NXT 2.0.
Yeah, I guess it's always just nerve-wracking because I'm like, okay, and then what happens with Imperium? Gunther's name is already a wild distraction over everything they're doing right now. If they drop, I don't know what's next for them. I would not get sick of them running that back as fast as I would for other things, but this is what happens in NXT 2.0. But at the same time, I thought about that with Legato. I was like, oh no, they're at a dead end road, and they found something creative for them to do, which was pretty good. So, yeah, I liked the match itself. Roddy Strong he just does everything.
He's just so good.
Just does everything right. And I think the Creed brothers getting reps with somebody like Walter is a good thing because they're the big dudes in a lot of these matches. Let's be honest. So them facing someone of Walter's size, Gunther's size, when the future is big and burly, that's probably good for them.
Shocky 29 says the problem with your theory, Alex, is like Ali, Walter has too much quote unquote value, whatever the hell that means. Well, that's only if you ask for your release. If it's their idea, they'll release you on a whim. They don't care who you are with that, how much value you've got. Look,
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt made them more money than they were paying him just in merch sales.
And they were
they fired him too.
Kids.
Budget cuts. Sorry, kid. Budget cuts.
And it's just also funny. I don't think you have value, but I'm also not going to let you go to our competition as a wildly hypocritical narrative to throw out there. No matter who you're talking about, never mind with someone like Ali.
Yeah. Mark Losper says, can't wait for Vince to blame Walter for this Gunther mess. I mean, he does have a history of that kind of thing. Hasn't yet, but he very well might with this particular thing.
Bearcat Gunther, that's where we're at right now. It's the same rinse and repeat story of let me tinker with something that absolutely does not need to be tinkered with, and create a worse plan simply because it was not mine. Yeah.
Nerd Guru says, Gunther not over? You're losing to Wagner next week, kid.
Yeah.
No, that won't happen. They've got other plans for Von Wagner. He's gonna be the WWE champion and the Universal champion one day, says Robert Stone. I just will talk about that thing right now. That was odd and out of the blue.
We have to.
Robert Stone says, I'm done with this entertainment side of this business. Now I'm only in the sports, kind of, I guess was the implication. He did say I'm done with the entertainment side. I was like, well, if you're managing Von Wagner, you're definitely done with the entertaining side of this business.
Did he think the karaoke thing that he was doing was entertainment, though? Like, I don't understand.
Because when he was managing Aaliyah, she was so damn entertaining.
The charisma was jumping off of our screen.
Von Wagner remains the least electrifying man in sports entertainment. He at least he doesn't have to say as much. Like Stone does all the talking, and then this is Von Wagner's world, says Robert Stone. And then Von Wagner says, you're just living in it. Like, oh, okay. And I love how they say, 6'5", 255 pounds. You lie about everybody's weight and everybody's height. Tell me he's 6'8". Tell me he's 290 pounds. Like 6'5" and 250 is not impressive in the world of WWE. It's decently big, but not huge.
Yeah. Like, if he was standing next to Drew McIntyre, he would not look like a big dude.
He would not at all.
Like, he's less charismatic than Orange Cassidy, whose whole thing is to be apathetic.
Yeah.
Which is sad. He just has no presence about him. Like, so maybe he and Dominic Mysterio could be in a tag team of just like meh. I'm bored watching this, even though it's not like the worst thing I've ever seen. Like, the worst thing I've ever seen would be better because I'd be having an emotional reaction. It's just not good. And I like the idea of pairing him with Robert Stone, but isn't Robert Stone's whole side of things the entertainment side? Like, I don't understand.
I guess not anymore.
Either.
I guess not anymore.
Because it ain't the sports side. Like, Von Wagner also not like, wow, look at the athleticism on that dude. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what value he's bringing to the table at this moment. Like, yeah. I'm just not. I'm not even underwhelmed, because underwhelmed is a reaction. I'm just whelmed.
Yeah.
Not whelmed.
Yeah. Luis, I'm going to save everything having to do with Toxic Attraction and Mandy Rose for a little later. So you can drop that down the list.
If I had more time in my life, I would start a is she out of the pool? Those Twitter, those Twitter accounts that are like,
is Mandy Rose in the pool?
Is Mandy Rose in the pool? And they just tweet like yes or no.
Yes or no, exactly.
Like, today would be a big day because she was out of the pool.
Yeah. So we got a Cora Jade. Yeah, I'm gonna beat Raquel Gonzalez. I'm gonna prove to her that we're gonna be in the Destiny Cup together, because I think we can win it. Then Raquel comes up and she says, "Oh, Chiquita, you're not gonna beat me, whatever." And then we got the match. Oh, so Raquel leaves, and then Cora Jay's standing there with Mackenzie Mitchell going, "You got this. You can do it. Okay." She's like doing a little weird affirmation deal, like, God doggone it, people like me type of thing. And then
I have always thought that Shawn Michaels' theme should be affirmations. Like, there should have been a character who looked in the mirror and was like, I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy. And Shawn Michaels could have sold the shit out of that. Are you kidding me?
I'm a sexy boy. I'm a sexy boy. I'm a sexy boy. All right,
I'm not your boy toy. I'm not your boy toy. Like, he would have killed that. It would have been great.
Would have been great. So the whole match was Cora Jade trying really hard to beat Raquel Gonzalez and failing. And eventually Raquel hit her Chingona bomb. And then she gets out of the ring for a second and then gets back in and says, "All right, let's do this. You and me in the Dusty Cup." And I was just like, you just tried to murder her through the whole thing. At what point did you decide that you wanted her to be your partner? Was it before you tried to choke bomb her through the ring? Because if so, maybe hold off on that and just shake her hand and say it's a draw. It's fine. You've proven yourself to me. We can be a team. Because what if you I don't know, broke a rib or something, or caused some light internal bleeding, and now you want to be her partner? It feels like if you do. Oh, Well, you didn't kick out of my finisher. That proves that I want you to be my tag partner. It's a really weird thing to do. The match itself was okay, whatever. It just was built on this completely false premise that I kicked your ass, and therefore you're good enough to be my tag partner. I don't know.
I think out of all the horrendous backstage segments they had, what they should have done was shake hands in this and then later her reflect and be like, look, I beat the ever-living shit out of you. That is what it takes to actually win this damn thing. Yeah. And I now see that you have it in you and I'm willing to team with you. I think that could have gone a long way because this felt very stark and weird and out of the blue. So I actually don't hate the story and I don't hate how it was executed, but like, they had so much dumb shit happen backstage today that I feel like it would have been so better served if Raquel had just given her like all right, she took me to my limit. She took a lot of punishment. I'm impressed. And then later we got like maybe she thought about it for a second or something like that. So match was decent enough. Some really good spots in it. There's at least like, we're getting back to coexisting territory, right? But like, there's at least a justification for this. That's not like you're a bitch and I'm hot. Right. Like that was like 6 storylines there for a minute. So I kind of like the story that's unfolding here. It was just like you pointed out, very disconnected.
Yeah. Mark Losper says, the little geek that could is a gimmick that I could not care about in the slightest. I don't feel like she got close to winning the match. Like if she had like pushed Raquel to her limit, maybe then Raquel it would be more believable for her to have, faith in her or something.
I think what needed to happen is the reverse of the story you normally see, where Raquel is somehow for most of it fighting from behind. Because
somehow, I don't know.
Like, and then Raquel sneaks a win instead. Because I have this problem, and not to compare them just because they're both skateboarders or whatever, but I have this problem with Darby Allin too, where it's like, sometimes we get the same story with Darby, not usually at pay-per-views, that usually gets switched up a little bit, but like I'm a skinny little person, and so I'm fighting from underneath constantly does wear itself out.
Right. Alan Mark says, I think this would be a good time to get Linda and Sheila's reaction to the so far. I'm getting depressed. Now, I like the Cora Jade. I think she's very sweet. She's very petite. I like her little tattoos. I like a little skateboard. I like a beanie hat. I'm myself obviously a very big fan. But it just seems like so desperate. I mean, sweetheart, just find somebody who likes you for you. Don't go after all these people who don't like you and you want to prove that you're good enough. Let me tell you something, Cora. You're good enough. And until you know that yourself, nobody else is going to know it.
I know that you have said multiple times that that was the biggest lesson you learned from your first 6 husbands.
It's true.
And I think it's really sweet that you're trying to prevent the heartbreak of someone else. It is a little desperate. What is this bean hat that you're talking about?
Oh, then one of these things, little cap up top to keep the hair in place and.
It's a bean. What's it called? What's it a bean for?
Oh, the kids call it a beanie.
A beanie?
Yes, it's a winter cap. But they used to call it a watch cap. But now
that's how I know them as. I know them as the watch cap.
The watch cap.
The beanie. That is new hip lingo.
The kids call it a beanie. I know. Yes. Well, my niece is on the Facebook and she tells me all the things that I'm doing wrong and saying wrong. She's one of the good ones on the Facebook, not one of the weird ones who wants to storm places.
I think it's good that she's one of the good ones. I don't know about these tattoos either. As far as tattoos go, listen, I like them, but I just don't understand the tattoos.
Listen, I came to terms with it a long time ago. They're here to stay. No matter what you say to the youngins, they're going to get more and more of them until their whole body's a freaking canvas.
You know, my nephew tells me it's art.
Well, it is art. I mean, it's art. It's art you can't erase unless you have one of those lasers, I suppose.
That's the thing. I'm worried this generation, they're going to regret it.
Oh, my God. If I had gotten tattoos when I was younger, I mean, they just be flapping in the breeze, and who wants that? Look like a sail on a ship. Terrible.
Linda broke Sheila.
That
was good. We needed that break. We needed that break because this episode.
Thank you,
so
Alan
depressing.
Marks, for telling us to
that was you didn't realize. You thought that was for you. That was for us.
No,
that
for
was
us.
like
yeah.
self-care and for us. So
Shauna Walensky says HBK is Stuart Smalley. Yeah. OMG, he would need a Mr. Rogers sweater and a mirror. HBK would have rocked this because
he really would have.
He's smart enough. Etc.
Doggone it.
Yeah.
Everybody but Bret Hart liked him.
Mark Losper says Robert Stone called Von Wagner the future. Ha 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 ha. Let us all laugh together. Now is the part where we throw back our heads in laughter. Yeah. So Pete Dunne cut a promo about his cricket bat.
We didn't really get any Tony D'Angelo on the show tonight, did we?
No, there was
no wonder this episode sucks.
No wonder this episode was terrible. We didn't get any of my friend Tony D.
You didn't get any Tony D.
If we had gotten Tony D, we got some D. It just wasn't Tony D.
I know it, and we didn't get Hook either. I know that's a different company, but like any night that we don't see Hook is a bad night. So it's just like both of them is hard to stomach.
So he cut a promo about Tony D. He even did one of these things, and he's like, "What am I doing? I don't want to do this anymore." He wants a steel cage match with the Tony D. I'm assuming they'll do this at Vengeance Day. This might be the swan song for Pete Dunne in NXT 2.0, perhaps. Not sure.
Well, he looked great at Rumble. Oh wait,
yeah,
nobody was at Rumble.
I get it. I know that it's not good. I mean, it's your fault that it's not good, but perhaps the USA Network would like some eyes driven to the product. You know, putting somebody in the Rumble, one or two guys in the Rumble, or heaven forbid, a few of the women in the Rumble, considering you had to like listen, Hall of Famer. I love Ivory, you know. Considering you had to dig Ivory out of mothballs to come in and not actually get in the match, how about putting Raquel Gonzalez in there to eliminate like 3 or 4 women? You know?
Dig her out of mothballs.
I mean, when was the last time we saw her? Somebody had to be keeping her in a storage locker somewhere.
She was censoring people. Yeah, no, I could have done with like 6 less of those spots and 6 more of Io Shirai's and Kaylee Ray's and Raquel Gonzalez's and Dakota Kai's. Yeah, no, I keep thinking like LA Knight, Petey Poppins, a couple other guys are going to go up to the main roster and this would be the season to do it. Mm-hmm. But I also thought they would be in Rumble. So we'd have, like an indicator as to who those people might be.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So maybe this is his swan song. Also, he might be fighting Grayson Waller the week after.
Oh,
I don't know what the hell's going on.
No, nobody does. Nobody does. So I'm fine with, you know, seeing more of these guys. Steel cage would be a good, you know, way of using these people. I think it's fine. It's good. We've already seen that Tony D knows how to smuggle crowbars into like a War Games ring. So in a regular steel cage shouldn't be that hard for him. So I think, but that's fine. So we got a Duke Hudson package, and I appreciated that. Like, he's like, I used to be all about playing poker and stuff, and I don't do that anymore. And I was like, yay! Thank God we're not doing that anymore. He says it wasn't even about Dante Chen. It was just about I saw an opportunity and I took it. He's now like claimed the shaved head look. Like he's like keeping it buzzed close. Like he's in the promo with like backlit and in silhouette. He's buzzing his own head. I thought this was fine. This actually makes Duke Hudson seem like, you know, like a badass, which might be a good thing. Although don't take away his charisma when he talks, because he used to be really, really great at that. Then you give him the poker gimmick and it kind of didn't work. But I'm willing to see what they do, but I just don't think they have a high ceiling in mind for him.
I think there's some guys who are better at live promos and there's some guys who are better at backstages. I think he's a live promo guy.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I'm always very impressed by people who are better live promo people. Because I would think the safety net of having multiple takes would do something for you. But like even in that terrible poker stuff, he tried so hard to make sense of stuff. He said luck is for losers, like speaking to the CM Punk nerd inside of me. Like he was trying really, really hard. And I feel like him owning the shaved head and like, I think he cares about the character even to this point, which I think is nice. Like, he's like, okay, we're going to scrap the stuff that sucks, but I look all right with a shaved head. So we're going to keep something continual about me. It's good with a shaved head. Why not? Yeah. So I'm relieved that they might be putting him in a more kind of a role of badassery. I think that's a better fit for him. And, you know, I think the live promo was just a bigger strength of his, but I didn't hate this in comparison to what else we got backstage. This was like the only good thing that happened. So I did not think this was going to be like the bright spot of the show, but it kind of was.
Yeah.
That's sad.
So remember last week or 2 weeks ago when on the same night we got Gunther for the first time, we also got the Saray package. And I was like, surely somebody who works for them monitors online reception to the shit that they do. Surely somebody does that and would have shown them that this thing got an even worse response than whatever they were trying to do with Walter and Gunther. Like it wasn't as big of a deal, but like people hated it in a lot of ways. And then she starts walking out, and like they show, hey, here's a little snippet from that thing that everybody hated. And then Saray makes her return to the ring next. And I was like, all right, so you guys are gonna keep on doing this, huh? Nobody said to stop this thing before it got out of hand. So then we see after the commercial, she's walking through the backstage area over by where Gorilla would be. And she looks down at her little necklace that their grandma gave her that she bought from Claire's last week, this heirloom necklace, and she holds it. And then she turns and walks into a blinding aura of light. And then she walks out to do her match, and she looks entirely different. Backstage, she had the little glasses and the little pigtails and the black hair and the thing, but then she walks out and she's got red and pink hair and she's all decked out in all of her gear and everything. So Boa and before him, Mei Ying were using the magic of the Far East for the powers of evil. But Saray is using the magic of the Far East. And believe me, this is, I believe, what must be going through Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard's mind, not my own. But I can't think of anything other than why are these two people who happen to be from the same area of that continent both using magic to change themselves physically? It's like, why Saray is using the powers of good and Boa is using the powers of darkness, but they're basically the same character, even though one of them is Chinese and one of them is Japanese and one of them is a man and one is a female. Why?
I don't understand this obsession with these transformations. Like, even if you're not going to go that far, which I absolutely think you're right. Like, on the main roster, Damian Priest has to be like half good, half bad. The Priest. Like, I don't understand this obsession with, like, can you just have someone that seems like a human fucking being? Like, I truly don't. And there wasn't, this tinkering with stuff that doesn't need to be fixed. Saray is so good in the ring. She's unbelievable. She has such a unique skill set. Like, and if you want to tell the story, like if that's a real story, I don't think it is the necklace that she was wearing. But like, if you want to tell the story that like she has Xia Li with the lightning fist, like everything has to be this cartoonish, like whatever with Asian representation on the show. But if you want to tell the story that she was homesick and went home and she has that's insulting to the heirloom from her grandmother to like make it Captain fucking Planet all of the sudden. Like I have sentimental things from my family. They're literally hanging. This compass is like a thing that's a reminder of my grandfather, and I don't need to come out like with a compass pointing me to the direction of the ring and in the match being like, oh, it's pointed to a suplex. Like it's just so it's so like Dora the Explorer. Like I don't understand why someone can't just have something genuinely, sincerely meaningful in their lives.
It is the trope of the magical girl. That's what the thing is in that in anime and stuff like that. And like the whole thing is like, okay, fine. I don't know if I trust this particular creative team to tell that story right. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't feel like that's a thing that like they can do that.
All of the other times that they have,
it is kind of because they have a really bad track record of it.
Yeah. Like every other time.
Yeah. Like that's all. Like I'm willing to be proven wrong. Like I love Saray in the ring. I think she's great. I don't think she needs this gimmick to get over. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's the thing, is that everybody needs to be a cartoon character in WWE now because they don't just let people breathe as people.
Well, and isn't the whole point of like a trope like that? And I don't follow any anime, so I really don't know. But isn't it supposed to be like that it was inside you all along, kind of?
Maybe.
Or like that someone's spirit is with you? Like Moana was not this cartoonish, and the whole thing was that her grandmother was like in the ocean with her, right? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
The Nurguru says there are 75 transformation BS gimmicks going on, yet Finn Balor, who literally has one of those things, is nowhere to be seen. Vince logic. Yeah, well, you know, Finn Balor is nothing but roster filler. That's according to him.
Oh, God.
JW Pringle says, Kate, did you just ask WWE to make a character act like a human being? Oh, you sweet summer child. Vince doesn't know how to human in real life, and neither do his idiot friends in charge. Well, you know, certainly that seems to be the case. I don't know exactly.
I don't know, man. My friends are honest with me when I do dumb shit, especially this dumb.
So Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams come out to cut a promo about, you know, Carmelo Hayes insinuates that he's been having a lot of the sex with the rapper from last week. Is she going to be an on-screen character, or was this like I came out with her last week, introduced her, and so therefore we've been having a lot of sex?
I think you were not the only one that noticed that her 2.0s were on display.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they were right there. Yeah.
On the internet, I think there was some fun had with Trick Williams and Carmelo, particularly a GIF of Fresh Prince, where there was a lady who was singing, and they were like in the background. So I don't think it's gonna be something that's ongoing. I think there was just an insinuation with that. But there's also a concert on NXT, I guess, like every week now, or some sort of singer, as we're going to discuss later.
We're gonna spend a good amount of time on young Miss Nikita Lyons. Okay, Linda has things to say about Nikita Lyons.
I bet she does.
I'm sure she does. I don't know what they are yet, but she'll make them up as she goes along, because that's Linda. This was fine, whatever. Like Carmelo Hayes is ultra gifted in the ring. As he's a fine speaker, fine. He's ultra gifted as a wrestler. Can we just see him wrestle more often or do something like besides this thing? Because I don't know.
Yeah, but if he was going to have a match, where were we going to put all the boner jokes?
Well, yeah. So, Cameron Grimes interrupts, and they talk back and forth. It's really not all that engaging. Cameron Grimes doesn't feel nearly as interesting now that he's wearing human clothes. Like, I liked him a lot more when he was coming to the ring with his ridiculous top hat and a vest and trunks and wrestling boots, and that's it. Because that guy being ultra wealthy off of GameStop stonks was really funny. This guy walking out in a green suit is not funny. It's not anywhere near funny. He's been like, of all the guys that you said, let's have you tame down your cartoonishness, you said, hey, Cameron Grimes, who is legitimately great at this shit, can you bring it down like 12 notches? And I'm like, I mean, but he's good at it, though. He's actually good at it. You're asking all these other people to do it. Oh, boy.
All he has to do is get to Vince and be like, hey, I'm actually 1/20th pick, Japanese, Chinese, like some sort of Asian representation that would be like, I'm only like 10% that. And then they'll be like, oh, go back to your cartoonishness then. We love that. But it only applies to the Chinese and Japanese wrestlers. He's just like an accountant now that kind of says funny things. Like, he's the flashiest guy at Merrill Lynch. I don't understand. Like, what?
He's the wacky guy at H&R Block. That's what he is.
Exactly. He's like, oh my God, is he coming to happy hour? Because I'll go to Dave & Buster's if that guy's going to Dave & Buster's. That's who he is.
That guy's crazy. Look, he's got his hair slightly longer than regulation, and he wears a beard. His suit is green. That guy's all over the place, man.
It's not gray like mine. This is Cameron Grimes now. What are we doing?
So I'm looking forward to this match at Vengeance Day.
As am I.
But
that should be a good one.
Like I don't know. I don't know. Cyclops is better than Wolverine says Hayes can't be trusted because he lied about Indy DMing him. So
it's a very good point.
Honestly,
it's a very, very good point.
I think he's casting aspersions on young Miss Ollie J's good name.
On a good something.
That's not all he's casting onto her. If you get my drift.
That was a more clever joke from Linda, who is in her late 70s at this point.
Oh, I don't know. I stopped keeping track back in like 1989.
We celebrate the same 40th birthday every year.
Over and over and over again. So that's fine. All right. Earlier in the night, we got a little backstage. This happened earlier today. Of LA Knight.
Yeah.
Cutting a promo about Grayson Waller.
Yeah, he did.
And then Joe Gacy and Harlan showed up behind him. And like, oh, Mr. Knight, you seem to have such anger issues. Maybe we could work it out in the ring. It's like, maybe we could work it out in the ring. Why don't you bring you or your sidekick little pet dog there? We're gonna get in the ring tonight. We're gonna play. We're gonna have. I don't care which one you get in the ring. Dummy. Yeah, that's not a thing. That's a fact of life. Yeah, and he leaves. That's basically a decent impression. So I was like, So this is how we're going to get more Grayson Waller on the show, as they're going to attack him during the match, huh? And then that's what happened. The match is fine. You've actually gotten me to a point where I actually give a shit about LA Knight because he's more like Eli Drake now. And now you're going to put him in a program where I feel like he's destined to lose. I'm like, that's not fair.
He, I think, is going to... Of anybody that's in NXT, I think he's getting called up. So if he's going out on his back or whatever, that's fine. Yeah.
But I wish they had actually been able to, like, give me this guy for a few months so I could like him for a while before he winds up on the main roster and winds up never on television.
You know why they didn't do that?
What?
Because they're dummies. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
Thank you.
The match with Gacy is all right. And then he winds up on the outside, and there's Sanga, and he locks eyes with Sanga on the outside. And then Grayson Waller, who again has that finisher that he can only do if he runs and jumps and tucks and rolls. He has to do it from outside the barricade and jump over the barricade to do his little tuck and roll. Otherwise, he can't do his leaping stunner. It's a really limited finisher. Like, it's very limited. So
makes the 619 look like fine. Like that doesn't have to be done under specific circumstances.
Yeah.
Who thought that your finisher, if you want to just throw that into a match, it's cool enough. Your finisher is going to be done under those circumstances every time you win a match.
Yeah, it's a high degree of difficulty and a high degree of stupid.
And just like such specific circumstances.
Yes. I love I just love how, listen, I guess Grayson Waller is doing something right because I hate his guts and I never want to see him on television. Like, so I guess he's doing something right. But I mean, like,
let's go away, Heat. That's not,
I mean, yeah, but like I desperately want to see him get the shit beat out of him. So I guess that's the point, right? Like, honestly, if you asked me, do you want to see him get the shit beat out of him? Like, for real, by like, I don't know, 7 or 8 guys with lead pipes, or he can disappear from the earth tomorrow. It's a toss-up. Honestly, it's a toss-up. I really don't know.
I mean, I am happy
that... Like, Madcap Moss, I don't need to see him get beat up. Just go away forever.
Go away.
But Grayson Waller has gotten under my skin enough that it is a toss-up between go away forever, wink out of existence, or I actually get to watch him get the shit beat out of him. It's a toss-up for me.
All right.
You know?
I'll give you that.
So maybe he's like at least 40% effective at what he's trying to do. I don't know.
I mean, I'd rather watch that than Von Wagner do anything. So that's like a good example, like a good comparison. And I think there's a part of me that feels like the things that I don't like aren't really like entirely his fault. Like, it's not that he's so bad at his job.
Yeah.
It's that he was given this gimmick with no wins.
Yeah.
And that he got pushed so fast with no wins.
Yeah.
And it's a gimmick that I don't like. But it's not that he's doing bad stuff with it, and it's not that he's bad in the ring. So I have a little bit of patience for that, I guess.
He says that if you want to have a match with me, you got to beat Sanga next week. And I'm assuming he does, and then he gets his match with Grayson Waller at Vengeance Day the following week. I'm assuming. But he says, you think you can take it my NXT? I'm NXT. I own it here. This is my place. I run NXT. I'm like, this says who? Where are you getting off saying that you run NXT? You've won like a match.
Here's the thing,
via
too.
Interference.
He's like, then I'll lift my restraining order. And you just seem like a fucking dork when you have to... I'm gonna lift my restraining order. Is so lame. And then also, like, I don't know, LA Knight, make a friend. I find him fun. We're out here doing dummy impressions. Like Gacy and Harland. It's also just bad how much better Gacy is in the ring than Harland. Like, that's not great. Yeah. And then now you have Sanga and Grayson. It's like, I don't know. You've got a cool car.
Yeah.
You're likable enough now. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to be his friend.
Mm-hmm.
Go find a friend backstage to help you out on occasion.
Do that.
Just seems rude.
Numlocks asks, is Big Sleepy Baby a better gimmick than 5,000-year-old Dragon Lady? I don't know. But I do know that we got a Wendy Choo versus Amari Miller match.
I'm going to need you to answer that question because now I can't stop thinking about it.
How about Big Sleepy Dragon Lady? No.
It doesn't even matter. I just need you to be on a side of the fence.
Pick a side.
You gotta, you know what? Just because, like, the fact
Pick a side, you coward.
That's an insane. The fact that that's a question that makes sense to ask is insane. It's insane that that question makes sense to ask.
So
I find this one more relatable. Like, I also want to sleep all the time.
Oh, that's my chosen gimmick.
I just had COVID. Are you kidding? Like, I'm still tired. Like, I want to go to bed.
I want to take I want to take a nap at 10 a.m. and then another nap at noon and then another nap at 2 p.m. every day. Yeah. Every day I want that.
It's great. And just a Slurpee? Who doesn't love a Slurpee?
Yeah. So anyway.
And I also get disappointed if someone takes away my free refill.
Right.
So I'm going Big Sleepy Baby.
Okay. What about if you're a Big Sleepy Baby who commits credit card fraud? Because that apparently is also her gimmick. So here's the backstory. because Tiffany Stratton, who thinks that Pajama Girl is a freak. Is a freak. Yeah.
She's a freak, which isn't what NXT is about.
Yeah.
Kind of is, Tiff. Look around.
Yeah. Cartoon characters everywhere.
Yeah.
But she says, Amari Miller, if you take out, I don't know why she's choosing Amari Miller, who does not seem like she has Hit Woman written all over her.
Oh, yes, she does.
But she says, if you take out Wendy Choo in your match tonight, I'll take you shopping. You could buy whatever you want with my daddy's credit card. So Amari's like, well, I'll think about it. All right. And so they have the match, her and Wendy Choo. Wendy Choo does stuff in a onesie wearing bunny slippers that you shouldn't be able to do.
Yeah.
So that, like, honestly, that's
impressive.
That's impressive. And I always say this, they give you a terrible thing to do, commit to the bit and they'll forgive you. I won't forgive them, but I'll forgive you. Wendy Choo has found a way to make this watchable, which doesn't seem possible, honestly. But she's made this whole thing watchable. She's actually got I don't want to say it's a rest hold, but it has the same effect. She uses Amari Miller's leg as a body pillow and just grabs onto it, just nestles in there, puts her head on her thigh as a pillow and wraps her arms and legs around it. And Amari Miller's, get off me. I thought that was great. Also, she had her running, jumping elbow drop that she does when she drops an elbow like this with putting her hands next to her head like she's going to sleep. That was fun. This is all, good.
I want her and Orange Cassidy to date.
Yeah, I know you do. Tiffany Stratton comes out with her credit card. And Amari's like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So then she throws the credit card into Amari Miller like it's a pair of brass knucks. Like, are you supposed to hit her with a credit card? I don't think that's going to do a lot of damage.
And aren't you taking her shopping? Why does she have to?
Why does she have to have the credit card?
Proof that it's my dad's name on it. Like, this made no sense.
I guess. But she but so she loses the credit card in the middle of the rest of the match. Wendy Choo, does she hit a finisher? I don't know. She pins Amari Miller, right? And then Tiffany Stratton is very angry about this. So she gets in the match. She gets in the ring afterwards, says, You messed up. You're so stupid and you're fake and I hate you. Give me back my credit card. And Amari Miller was like, I don't have it. She's like checking pockets that she doesn't have. And then the crowd goes, I actually heard two people go, Wendy's got it. The crowd moving like, Wendy has it. Look over there. And so she looks up the ramp, and there's Wendy Choo, and she's holding the credit card. She's like, me? I got it now. I have it. And Tiffany Stratton's like, that's mine. Give it back. And Wendy Choo is like literally 13 feet from Tiffany Stratton going, it's mine now. And I'm like, is this not taking place in the real world?
I was looking at my notes and my phone fell, which is like perfect. I'm just confused by the legal standing of how things happen at NXT. No one's ever been caught in the parking lot, but there is like a restraining order on LA Knight.
Restraining orders apparently are things you can file on somebody that have some kind of weight that can carry into the NXT ring, but you can just take up ownership of somebody's credit card on television, say, I have it, I'm going to use it, but like, can't the FBI trace you now? Because I don't know how any of this works.
Or like your local precinct.
I mean,
like Tiffany Stratton's dad could just like hit the freeze button on his banking app at this point. Like,
I suppose.
I don't get it. Yeah, that was dumb and weird.
Right.
I think it would be hysterical if next week though Wendy Choo has like Gucci pajamas on or something. Like she just went nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's been anything that Tiffany Stratton has done yet that I give a crap about.
Yeah.
So and Faces shouldn't be committing credit card fraud.
I mean, but she deserves it because she's so mean and calls Wendy Choo a freak, and she spilled her free refill last week.
Yeah, but also like that ain't her dad. That's her dad's credit card.
Yeah, but
not his fault. She's a spoiled brat. Maybe it is. Daddy. Yeah.
The Nerd Guru says Punk versus Choo in a go to sleep match,
and she goes like,
"Yeah,
that would be amazing."
And Ricardo El Idolo Agrio says Punk versus Choo versus Kenta for the custody of the GTS.
Only if Wendy Choo wins.
I want her to have a move called the go to sleep, but when she hits it, she gets to go to sleep.
She gets to go to bed. Yeah,
she gets to go to bed.
Nice.
Then, like, I think that when she pins people, she should just like nestle on their chest and go to sleep. And that's how she pins people.
I think that's sweet.
Valob says, no joke, I think wrestling in a onesie looks like fun, especially if it's like short matches like these. It's true, it does look like fun. The wrestling in the bunny slippers looks like it would just be terrible. Like, you have no spring off of those things, and she does. I don't know how she does it, but she does.
And I would think you would be in danger of slipping and falling constantly, wouldn't you? They're not like known for traction,
right? This episode of NXT has proved that the WWE has no idea how restraining orders and credit cards work.
Yeah,
and they have some really strange ideas about how people date. We're gonna get more to that. If Sean really is in charge of this show, he's as completely lost as Vince is. I don't think he's actually in charge of this show. I think that they're trying to somehow maintain order, but I don't think he's really in charge of the show. And Mark Losper says, as much as I like Wendy Choo, the people who say this is WWE's Orange Cassidy gimmick don't understand Orange Cassidy's gimmick. Bring back Karen Q and make her kick people. Listen, I will say this about what I want from Wendy Choo. They're never going to do it, but I want it one time. I want her to have like a high profile match at some point, and I want her to transform into Mei Ying for like 5 seconds, blow the mist in somebody's face, and then transform back into Wendy Choo because anything's possible in this ridiculous thing they call NXT 2.0, and that would pop me desperately.
To that point, well, let me ask you this, Alex. How do you feel about Orange Cassidy in general?
Yeah.
Are you a fan, or are you not a fan of Orange Cassidy?
I mean, I like Orange Cassidy. I think he's really, really fun. I think he's good in the ring. I don't know what his ceiling is.
Okay, here's where, when there's Orange Cassidy dissenters in the world,
yeah.
The point that super chat was making is one that I make frequently, which is that his apathy is used to get under his opponent's skin. All those little kicks and stuff are like set up to get in your opponent's head. This is the thing that I think can happen with Orange Cassidy tomorrow if they wanted to do it, and can't happen with Wendy Choo. I think you could make Orange Cassidy such a nasty asshole of a heel, and you can't do that with Wendy Choo because he's apathetic. So what's a guy who's just a dick and turns his back on all of his friends that doesn't care as much as them? Mwah, beautiful. So they need to find something that justifies her bizarre behavior still, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You know what else?
What?
When I wake up like Wendy Choo from a nap.
Yeah.
Or from just sleeping in general.
Uh-huh.
I'm craving cereal. Like frequently. You know?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah.
But the problem is it like never fills you up because it's a carb. So like maybe Sean Ross Sapp could tell us about something that's a protein-packed alternative for such a thing.
Cameo. What's up, you guys? It's Sean Ross Sapp. I'm not here physically on the show right now, but I still wanted to tell you about how I'm starting my day no matter where I am with delicious Magic Spoon cereal. 0 grams of sugar, 14 grams of protein, only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving, only 140 calories per serving. Keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb. It is the ultimate breakfast food. It's the ultimate snack food, and it's the ultimate food for me to take while I'm traveling. Quick, easy, all the flavors you love. Peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, maple waffle, cocoa, fruity, frosted, all over the place. That cookies and cream and maple waffle are back permanently. And if you go to magicspoon.com/Fightful, grab a custom bundle of cereal, try it today. Use our promo code FIGHTFUL at checkout to save $5 off your order if you don't like it. They are so confident in their product. It comes with a 100% happiness guarantee. They'll refund your money, no questions asked, if you don't like it, but you will. It's perfect before, after workouts, as a snack. And my favorite thing about it is you get filled up with one serving. It's not running back and forth to the cupboard to get more, racking up those carbs, racking up those calories. Magicspoon.com/Fightful. Use that code FIGHTFUL.
It's so good. It's just so good. It's
Sean Ross Sapp.
Well, listen. I don't usually like to interrupt your all show because, you know, you all are on time constraints usually. It's a little bit more flexible now, but I felt as if there was some breaking news I should share with you guys that would be important for your review.
Let's do.
The Cincinnati Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. Look at
What?
my shoes. Look at my shoes. They're beautiful. Look at them. Glaciers of Ice kicks. GOI kicks on Twitter and
My
Instagram.
goodness. They weren't going to the Super Bowl before those kicks were being made. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm not saying that it's because of your shoes, but I'm not saying it's not.
Kicking got them to the Super Bowl. If he would have worn these shoes, he could have kicked that field goal from 70 yards.
700 yards.
700 yards. Yeah.
700 yards.
He could have set up at, well, not Great American Ballpark because they were in Kansas City. He could have set up at Kauffman Stadium, kicked it over the fountain into Arrowhead through the uprights. It would have happened. I just felt like that's something I shouldn't put behind the paywall.
I'm proud of you, man.
I know. I'm giving this one away for free, but you know what? I'm not giving them all away for free. FightfulSelect.com.
Mark Losper asks, shouldn't you be preparing for an all-night edit, Sean? But he went away. He went away. Let's make it extra long, just for Sean.
Oh, we're going 231 tonight, buddy.
Yeah.
I like that he came in right after the ad too, because he's like, "Oh, it wasn't enough to have my face scrolling."
No. Yeah, that's true.
You know what? I wish NXT 2.0 had a happiness guarantee like Magic Spoon does. They do not.
Some stupid punk sends in a humper chat. He says, "I'm gonna clip that bit of Alex telling us we're good enough and worth it, and play it as my personal affirmation. I'm in desperate need of it. Watching you beautiful people while elliptical, love you too. We love you, some stupid punk." He's a Fightful faithful from way back.
If you need some affirmations and some confirmation, I think you should start with calling yourself some smart punk or the smart punk. Don't get the some out of here, man.
You are the smartest punk of all the punks that I have known. You're obviously the most intelligent. The intelligent punk.
The intelligent punk. Just like my undefeated Paul Hensler. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just got to create the magic and the confidence.
It's true. Vala says, how is it that Wendy gets to use the GTS but not Cora Jade? I don't know.
Maybe they'll fight for it.
GTS
on a pole match.
It's fantastic, bro. It'll get over, bro. Myron Kidd says, remember, Alex, this is a PG product. It's geared to be stupid and childish. It's a PG product that only old people watch. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they've done a focus group and they have old people who were like, I would like to watch things that are made for children. The
kids are not this dumb. I keep saying that. Like, kids are not this stupid and behind the time. Like, no.
The great RJ City has a gimmick that he's been doing on his Twitter.
Babyface.
Calling himself the Babyface.
What happened to Babyface?
Whatever happened to Babyface? And he's one of his most recent ones. He was like, how about the ratings and the demos and the numbers? Well, listen, do I have the 18 to 34 demo? No, but I do have their grandparents. And if they have a close relationship,
I've got them.
Then I got them too. He's fantastic, and he belongs on the NXT 2.0 because old people love RJ City.
It's true. I'm an old person and I love RJ City. Now that we have this extra half hour to play with, we should invite him on.
We should. We should see
That
how
would
it
be fun.
works. Oh no. Hey, what's that over there? I'm really wishing someone shows Vince the show Euphoria. This is what the kids are into. Vince, for real, this is what the kids like.
The kids. The kids love the Euphoria.
The kids love the Euphoria. Okay. What do I want to do next? But I want to do the big thing that makes me angry the most. No, here's what I'll do this one. Okay. So Draco Anthony, they do a little video package for him. Remember, he was the guy who used to sit in the diner alone drinking coffee like he was the equalizer. He used to sit in the diner. He was drinking the coffee by himself like he was Denzel Washington in that movie I didn't see.
I used to see him at the diner. I felt so bad. He was always sitting alone.
The Draco Anthony?
The Draco Anthony was sitting alone at the
or
diner.
Or the Denzel Washington. Which diner did you go to?
Depends on...
Because if you're going to a diner with Denzel Washington frequenting it, and you did not bring me with you, we are going to have words.
It was only the 2 times. Once was just for a coffee, and once was I go on Tuesdays before I go to the theater to take in my picture. And there was a time that he was there, and the amazing thing was I was going to see a picture with Denzel Washington in it. It was like an Inception situation.
Anyway, his new gimmick isn't that he's the equalizer. It's that he shows up to work out at 2:28 a.m.
It's about drive. It's about power.
And he flips over a very large tire. Now that wasn't a thing back in my day. Like if you were going to flip over a very large tire, you were about to put that tire on a very large vehicle of some kind. You did not do it for recreation or exercising purposes.
I think it's, do you know the CrossFit? Are you familiar with the CrossFit?
Is that cross? No, evidently not.
It's an exercise program. It's like, how we do the aquasize?
Yes, of course.
It's like more intense and younger. It's for the younger kids, and they call their gyms boxes. I don't really know what's going on in there, but they flip the big tires. I think they're the ones that popularize.
Oh, is that the thing?
Tires.
Is that the thing where it's not really so much exercise as it is masochism?
It's a little more masochistic, and you don't have
It's
to
like,
be so much qualified to teach it.
I'm going to beat my body into becoming fit. I'm going to like try and hurt myself so much that I'm always tense, and that's why my abs look like this.
And
Yes.
I think there's a lot of crying. I think by the end of it, you cry. But they have the big. I don't know where they're getting these big tires from. I don't know if they go around to these monster truck shows or what the deal is. But they're always flipping the big tires.
That's true. Anyway, he likes to flip a tire at 2:28 a.m. More power to him.
Terrible time to tire flip.
Terrible time to do that.
I would rather do it even just at like 2:47.
So they do it. They do a whole thing for him that he, in the middle of the night, he goes and works out of the PC. And that's why he's going to win. And he's in incredible shape.
Because it's about drive, it's about power.
Yeah, it's about driving power.
Look, if LA Knight can make a whole thing out of copying The Rock, so can I.
Right. But he's got his first match against Andre Chase.
Of Chase University.
Of Chase University.
Yeah.
Kate, did you get a memo? Did you get a memo? Did you get CC'd on an email? Was there a Zoom call that I missed an invite to? When did we all get together and decide unanimously as a group that Andre Chase is now organically over as a babyface? Because I missed that. But like he was awful, intentionally awful. Lost all of his matches. We booed the hell out of him whenever he showed up. That was a deal. And now, seemingly on a whim, he's supposed to be a fan favorite babyface. And I don't understand where the crowd decided that. I know they may have decided it, you know, the ubiquitous they, but why is the crowd going along with it? What did he change about himself? What has he done? Why are we now cheering him? I don't understand, but apparently we are.
Because they like sweaters. That's it.
Sweaters with large block print letters on them.
Big fan of those.
Yep.
I'm wondering maybe perhaps they were promised. It's sweater weather. And they love John Cena, and you know where you can't find John Cena? The next man sweater. So if Andre Chase is the next man that's like, oh, we don't need John Cena to wear that sweater because Andre Chase is already in it. Hugely over.
Yeah. I guess I see something from DestructoBot in the chat that when he got attacked and his student saved his life, that was the start of the turn. But I guess, but like, I don't know. Why are we cheering for him for getting his ass kicked? Like, I don't understand. Like whatever. He beats Draco Malfoy. Ha ha ha. Draco Anthony. In this match. It's, you know, it's the first day of Black History Month. Let's get this guy to lose his first match. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not, but I am, but I'm not though. So Draco Anthony loses his first match.
It would be more like alarm bells if people didn't just constantly lose in their debuts, but that happens now in this world. So people just are immediately like, hey, this is this guy's first match, but he sucks and you shouldn't care about him like off the bat.
Yeah. Anyway, he lost to he decided to pull he's Draco Malfoy now. Yep, from now on.
It's the free tuition. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's the free tuition. That must be nice because that's good, you know. I would like a backstage segment where he's nice to his class. We've only ever seen him be like absolutely horrible to his classes.
We didn't even see him get his ass kicked, and then there'd be like a teachable moment about it where he learns something. You know what I mean? Just do that. Just do like, you know what?
I suppose.
After I got my shit kicked in for the 947th time,
Yes.
I learned something in my own teachable moment, which was
Yeah.
that I need to be nicer to all of you people.
Yeah.
And then he could be a face. But they just because somebody gets beat up, the whole premise of wrestling is that someone's getting beat up half the time, right?
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So he brings the flag that Bodie Hayward is waving outside. He brings it into the ring and he steps on it. And the crowd reacts as though he like took a shit on a dog. Like it's just the most ridiculous thing for them to react to. But they just, oh no, don't step on the flag. And then he loses. It's like a hammerlock flatliner, I suppose.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
It's a kind of cool little thing, you know. Anyway, and then he calls out Von Wagner for a match next week. Andre Chase does. He's gotten to a point where they chant along with him when he does, you know, give me a C, give me an H, give me an A, give me an S, give me an E thing.
Yeah,
and then in the middle of the ring with the fans celebrating his victory, he cuts a promo into the camera about Von Wagner, I'm coming for you next week, brother. And I'm just like, I don't know how we got from reviled heel to this version of a babyface overnight. It seemed like there was no build to it. It may have happened when the switch may have flipped when he got his ass kicked and then his student saved him. But there was no build to anything along the way or since.
I think they decided they wanted Von Wagner to be a heel, and so now by default that makes him a face because they were gonna have this feud. But that is actually more planning than I might be giving them credit for.
James Nepper, I think he's figured out the idea of where they get the big tires. James Nepper says there's a large tire place that is literally 2 blocks from the CrossFit in my town. Who knew? LOL. So maybe we should start a little deal. Not us, but somebody maybe who's watching and has lots of time. Start going through all the towns in your area of where the CrossFit gym is and see how close the nearest large tire place is.
The CrossFit place in my town is across from like a Monroe or a Muffler Tire. Not notably larger than your average tire, but they would at least know where to get them.
Yeah. Mark Losper says, you guys are saying it wrong. You can't say CrossFit without a hashtag and taking 7,000 selfies of your gym journey. Well, there you go. That's true. Yeah. Manny Santos has a very good point. He may or may not have turned face on 205 Live. I know he does a lot of stuff on 205 Live. Maybe the whole start of the journey, maybe somehow, like sometimes with AEW, you have to watch Dark and Elevation to get the full story. Maybe we haven't been watching enough 205 Live, Kate. Are you going to start watching 205 Live? Because I am not.
No, and also like I shouldn't be expected to be able to catch up with the NXT when they won't even incorporate developmental onto their own main roster.
Smickers asks a very important question, and he's also given me the name of what I'm going to call it from now on. Where does Andre Chase fall on the beat 'em or yeet 'em scale? Like, would you rather see them get beaten up or just gone forever?
Beat 'em or yeet 'em? Ooh.
I honestly don't ever need to see him again. I really don't care enough about Andre Chase to want to see him get beaten up.
No, I think there's something in the worker, but not the gimmick. So if they gave him a new gimmick, that's probably true for most people. Mm-hmm. But like, I do like him when I like in the ring.
I think he's fine as a wrestler, but like this gimmick is dead.
Terrible, yeah.
It's a terrible gimmick.
Yeet the gimmick for sure.
Yeet the gimmick.
Yeah. But like Von Wagner, I would yeet everything about him.
Entirely.
I lie, I eat, I steal.
A full yeet. 100% yeet.
Viva la rata. I lie, I eat, I steal.
Oh, we go back to Wendy Choo with here. He says, if you combine Mei Ying and Wendy Choo, you get May Chuhausen. Very sleepy, very evil.
I'm in. Let's do it.
It's true. You actually do get that. You get
I'm in.
the face paint. You get the wackiness. Mark Losper says that beat him or yeet him is the call of the year. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
Perfect.
Beat him or yeet him. It's fantastic. That is
right.
very, very good.
It's literally at the same level as keep cool gabagool, which is like the highest praise you can actually give.
The beat him or yeet him scale is in here forever. That's great. Love that. Okay. So Here we go. Let's talk briefly about this thing. We saw Breaker in the locker room with this is the main event of the show, but certainly not the main event of our show because
we're closing with boners.
We're closing with boners. We're closing with boners, spaghetti in the hair.
I love you, Dad.
Spaghetti in the boner. So we're gonna get this Ciampa Breaker segment backstage. Like where Ciampa like hey, it takes a lot to actually join the club of people who've held that title. You're in that club now. I respect you, and I have. He says in a very surreptitious way. So we have. He says. I have a vested interest in you remaining NXT champion. I guess so. Like he wants to be able to take it off of Breaker in the future, I suppose. But I don't know why it would be any easier to do that than to beat Santos. But whatever.
Put his money on him at FanDuel. That's all.
Perhaps that's what it was. But like hey, let's go do this together thing, and then they have their match versus Legado, and they play the hits. At one point, Ciampa and Breaker do the clapping and the back patting thing together, sitting in the ring. The match is very good. I think Legado guys are very good, and Breaker and Ciampa actually work really well together. Breaker took a lot of the heat to build a Ciampa hot tag, which I thought was interesting. I thought you would have gone the other way around, but Ciampa like. Speaking of yeeting, yeets Joaquin Wilde off the top rope through the announce table, and then Breaker hits the his finisher on Mendoza and gets the pinfall victory. I think we both feel like we're probably going to get Santos versus Breaker at Vengeance Day in 2 weeks. Yes. That should be a really good match.
I'm very excited.
Will win. Yeah,
I think that'll be great.
That's
so it opened all right and it closed all right, but boy, oh boy.
Yeah. So before we get into the full through line of the evening, which will take us through all of the Mandy Rose stuff and also this other ridiculous backstage romance segment. Nikita Lyons is a new character. Nikita Lyons gets a little vignette backstage. We got a lot of super and humper chats about this little ridiculous little promo. She says, my dad was a bass player on the road is a rock band, and my mom was a groupie. Why would you call your own mom a groupie? Like once she actually got your father to marry her, I don't think she's a groupie anymore. But okay,
I guess even if that's your girlfriend, like I feel like a groupie is like a very one night or multi-night extremely casual situation. Calling your own mom a groupie
is weird, right? But anyway, I mean, okay, I guess there's like no shame in her game, I suppose. But she says that like the whole time she's talking, like I may have learned all my life lessons from roadies and club managers and whatever, traveling all over the US and Canada in a van or whatever. So like her dad was a bass player, her mom was a groupie. So they had her, and then they insisted on taking her all over America. Like apparently, if you're going all over the place in a van, like it's good that you're getting gigs, but they're not good gigs. It's not like he was the bass player for White Snake or something. Like he was like a really bad band that was at least getting gigs, so that's
or
fine.
a medium band. Yeah.
A medium band. So anyway, we can see through the whole thing that she's writing song lyrics. I'm like, oh, is she a rock singer? That'd be interesting.
At this point, I wish I was kidding. I changed the channel to make sure I hadn't changed the channel. I thought I had, honest to God, did not think I was watching a wrestling show anymore. I was like, is this like a weird sitcom that's trying to be VH1? I didn't understand my word. What happened?
Then she gets up from her, she shows us her handwritten lyrics, and she gets up and she walks away from the table, and she walks up to a microphone. I think it can qualify as a microphone, and she begins to rap. And
did she?
I mean, it wasn't singing. There was some
very large gap there.
There's something in, I don't know, man. Fabian Street says that Nikita Lyons vignette. What the F was that? I thought I was having a fever dream. Double XL cringe. I can't believe that was put on TV. The N and the H says Nikita Lyons. So they watched Empire, decide to base a character off it, but did not make sure the young lady can sing / rap. They could have at least used auto-tune for her. Lastly, why would you call your own mother a groupie? JW Pringle says Nikita Lyons is Tony D's tone-deaf rapper / singer half cousin. Also, who produced that spot? Singing into a $100 podcast mic is just sad. WWE can't afford a realistic-looking prop studio microphone? Oof.
I would think they'd be able to afford at least like a Shure 55 or like something.
And Jay Blood says, feel my heat. It was that level of terrible. The Nerd Guru says also, reminder, they had a hit row in their employ.
We both keep going to click it at the same time because it was like, yes, that's the one.
Oh my God. Like she's a white rapper, I guess. Chris Robinson says, hey, yo, OMG, I saw this Nikita Lyons promo and all I could say was, damn. Like it just, when she starts saying my dad was a bassist and they kept showing pictures of her dad with like rocker hair and like, you know, like in a rock band, I thought, oh, does she have talent? Is what I thought. And the answer is no. But like Elias didn't, but he learned how to play the guitar. Like if you're gonna give somebody a rock singer gimmick, okay, maybe they actually have somebody working for them who can sing, and they don't, and they think that, well, we don't know what to do with you. Why don't we make you a singer? And she says, well, I can't sing. That's okay. We'll make you a rapper. And that's not how it works. You can't just make somebody into a rapper if they can't rap, just like you can't make somebody into a singer if they can't sing. You know? Hey, what's over there said they got rid of Hit Row during this, to give other people their gimmick. I'm so confused.
Oh, buddy, I'm confused too. And this is like also, this isn't the same gimmick because that was organic and this is forced and terrible. So it's like, yeah, but like what happened was they said, oh, we can't go the rock star route because we already have Rick Boogs, who's obviously a rock star, up on the main roster.
They could be a couple.
Bro, I know how ridiculous it is.
Mark Losper says I had a meeting during this vignette. Sounds like I missed an all-timer. And I'm seeing people saying that she was a Matrix girl or a ninja on 205 Live. I have to find this episode. Like that she was a Matrix girl. I guess they decided against it, says Manny Santos. Well, I gotta find this and find out what the hell this is. Oh my God, Spine on the Pine says WWE had hit Row, promoted them, fired them, and then gave us cringe white lady rapper on the first day of Black History Month. Oh
That
boy.
one. That was the one. You found it. And like, why are we always having concerts? Like, why did we have Holly J last episode and this now?
Oh, they can't put her out there in front of a live audience doing this. Whatever this was they had during a pre-tape where they had the opportunity to edit it.
That ran through my head so many times of like, this wasn't live. You could have chosen not to air this.
Done something. Yeah.
Like you could have refilmed it. You could have not aired it at all. Like someone watched this and was like, this is made for national television.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Oh no. Is this true? But yeah, so I shouldn't do this for somebody who's not super chatting, but Papa Casso says the funny part is I first saw Nikita on a dating show called One Mo Chance, and now she's a wrestler.
Please tell me that's true. Please tell me that's true. Please. I
will do my due diligence and find
even
that on YouTube somewhere.
Somebody in the chat just say it's true because I don't want to find out it's not. Like, I don't want to do the research to actually find out if it's true.
The end of the age says first Ollie J, now Nikita Lyons. Ollie J. I mean, Ollie J. Who's the best women rapper ever? Because that's what Ollie J looks like compared to Nikita Lyons.
Missy Elliott.
Nikita. Ollie J is Missy Elliott compared to Nikita Lyons. Good God. She actually was. My God, I got to look it up. We got to look it up.
This now became the best episode of NXT, just like that. That's it. See what you did for us? You guys rule.
Yeah. Luis says, I hope Swerve shows up tomorrow on AEW and just in spite of this promo.
I hope he comes out. He doesn't say it. He just and then walks away. Like doesn't say a word. Just shakes his damn head.
Are we going back to the MTV/wrestling hybrid gimmick again? I mean,
Wrestling Society X is NXT. Wrestling Society NXT. I'm a genius.
Wrestling Society Next. That's what they'll call it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Sean, get on that. Is that breaking news?
Oh boy.
If he does find out, you can find out on FightfulSelect.com where you can subscribe for just $5 a month.
Yeah. So that's this. We'll see where this goes after a while. They may do vignettes for her for weeks. She may debut on the ring next week. I don't know. I don't know what any of this was.
Alex, like what part in this did they think like we're on to something?
Yeah. This is it. This is it. We have done it. This
Future
is
women's. And why does she give a shit about wrestling? Like Tiffany Stratton, I still don't understand why she gives a shit about wrestling. Why does a musician just want to be a wrestler? I'm so confused. Like,
I mean, honestly,
like there are boys and girls whose dreams this is.
We're at most 3 gimmicks away from Dave the Dumpster Drosy, Duke's son. We're at most 2 or 3 gimmicks away from that.
Remember when Ziggler was like, wrestling's like the 7th best thing I do or whatever, or like the 5th best thing I do? Wrestling is like these characters' thing that they care about, like 5th on the list. Wrestling's like the 5th dream I have is like what this is.
And
it's also very uninspiring. Like, hey, I would rather be this other thing, but I've decided I'm going to be at NXT. Like, wow. I grew up wanting to be a basketball player, but instead what I became was an accountant with Cameron Grimes. Like, that's not...
Nikki... Luis says, why is a musician a wrestler? I blame Spotify's payment system. Was she making like 0.3 of a cent per download? Yeah.
So now, see, that's actually a story I would love. If she was like, listen, I actually have 1 million listens on Spotify, but that comes out to $3. So that the label takes a cut and I have $1.50. So I'm just here to make my money.
I would do it.
My God.
Jay Blood says, we are truly peering into the abyss tonight and laughing. Bless you.
We are laughing.
And also with you.
And also with your spirit.
Alan Mark says that last tag match wasn't so bad. The Ciampa and Breaker one.
No, and the opening was okay.
But my cable system wouldn't let me tune into USA to watch until the last match, so I wasn't poisoned too badly. Yeah, if you want to have any clue what the hell we're going to be talking about for the rest of this episode, go ahead and go back and watch if you want. You don't have to by any means. But yeah. The Nerd Guru says, do you think every episode just a Mad Libs? Pretty much.
I still say idea balls, like on that South Park episode where the manatees pick them out.
Yeah. So, Toxic Attraction comes out early in the night. We're going to do this whole through line of all their stuff and how it basically NXT is a romantic comedy now. Toxic Attraction comes out to do a promo, the three of them. And they say, you know what, Indian Persia, if you want your match, you got it at Vengeance Day. We're going to beat you for our titles. This is the first time we've ever defended them since we won them in October. And we're totally going to beat you for them. So fine.
This did, I will say, show me that Gigi Dolan is the star of the three.
Oh, 100%.
Like, and I knew that already, but this, I was like, she's the one of the three. And Mandy Rose has been on the main roster before, but like, Gigi's the one.
Yeah. Then the music interrupts, and Kaylee Ray comes out with her baseball bat, and Mandy Rose says, "Put down the baseball bat." And she says, well, tell your friends to get out of the ring. And so they have a detente. And so he drops her baseball bat and the friends get out of the ring and they come into the middle of the ring to parlay. And
I have a question right off the bat.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you put your baseball bat down?
I don't know.
There's three of them. And you're like, you know what? All right.
Yeah. All right. So she gets in the ring. Kaylee Ray does. And says, and blah, 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 blah. And then she says something that Mandy doesn't like. Says, do you even know what my accomplishments were before this? And then she lists off a whole bunch of magazine covers she was on.
Well, Kaylee Ray says, hey, I was like the longest reigning women's champion.
She says that in response to Mandy Rose saying that she was on a bunch of magazine covers. Mandy, like first play. Like, is Mandy Rose saying, ha, you're not worthy to be in my ring because I'm a bikini model and therefore a better wrestler than you, is exactly why I hate Mandy Rose in this position. Because they know they can't tout anything that she's done on the main roster or in NXT from an in-ring perspective. So they say she's a bigger star because she's hot. And like, it just, I don't know. Like it's a lie. You're living a lie, and I don't like when they do that.
Well, here's what I think they're going for is that being a star is more than just being a wrestler. But when it's for the championship,
right,
that inherently just does not work. Like if Sasha Banks is a fucking star. Like you look at her, you see her crossover popularity. She's also an amazing wrestler. So like that works. What doesn't work is when you say like, I have all this other appeal because of my looks. And the thing that you're fighting over is the thing that proves you're the best wrestler. They haven't even gotten as far as to say the thing that's obvious to me, if you're a hot girl with friends, that you say is like, when the other person is standing there with no friends, like, you're never going to get this because I am so hot and popular. I have these friends that are going to make sure I don't drop this thing. They've never said that in this whole time. Yeah. So anyway, it just drives me nuts that they won't even draw the
So Kaylee Ray says, I'm the longest reigning women's champion in the modern era, which is true. She was NXT UK women's champ for like over 600 days. the most famous thing you've ever done is slip and fall on your ass walking down the ramp at WrestleMania. True. And Mandy Rose is like, well, what are you gonna get? Like, it doesn't matter what you've done in the ring. This is all that matters because I'm hot. And I'm like,
it doesn't matter that she's done that in the ring. And also, like, good heels are supposed to put over their opponents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't like that she buried her.
Here's the deal. So then she said, you know, like before tonight, I'm gonna get my title match, and then she shoves Mandy Rose, and then the other two girls run back in the ring, and then she goes and gets her bat, and she chases them away, and they leave, and they go out to the parking lot, and they're about to get in their car. The two Gigi and JJ get in the car, and Mandy Rose turns back. Like, we got to get out of here. We got to go. But before we leave, let me give them an impromptu interview nobody was asking for. She says, she's not worthy to even be in a ring with me, even be in my ring. She's the longest reigning women's champ of the modern era. You know, like, here's what happens. Mandy Rose says, Kaylee Ray says, I'm the longest reigning women's champ of the modern era. I was NXT UK women's champion for 600 days. Mandy Rose says, ha, you're not worthy to be in the ring with me. Gee, I wonder, wouldn't it be nice if there was a respected authority figure around whose job it is to arbitrate disputes and make matches? Like, if somebody says, here are my qualifications, I want a title match, and the champion says, you don't deserve to be in the ring with me, the champion shouldn't be the one who's making the matches. There should be somebody else doing that. There's Adam Pearce on the main roster doing it. Why don't we have anybody in charge of the children in NXT 2.0?
Well, because they wouldn't be able to handle the hotness is the obvious answer. But while you were saying that, know what I just realized? I think you need to have a rap battle with Regal and Nikita.
Oh, Jesus, no. That's a bad idea.
Not today, but I'm just saying. Okay,
so are you going to be Nikita?
That is not what I said.
I have to rap battle with both of them.
And also, to your point, like this you're not worthy thing, why not have her lose?
Yeah.
So that Mandy can say that.
Yeah.
Or like lose and in crappy ways to the other two. Like via disqualifications or whatever. You love doing that, right? Like, why doesn't she get to say, hey, she hasn't won anything, so she can't come after my title. She keeps losing to my lackeys. Mm-hmm. No, why would we tell that story?
Yeah. So anyway, when she tries to get into the van that currently her two friends are in, she tries to get into, she can't, and there's somebody in the driver's seat, and somehow Kaylee Ray has gotten to the car before they did. She's in there. We have no idea where Gigi and JJ are. Apparently they were knocked out or something. And she says, I am gonna get my title match tonight, and I'll be back for you later. And she drives away. Then she we've heard, says Mackenzie Mitchell in a little report later, that Kaylee Ray is back and she's looking for Mandy Rose. That's the update. Okay. No sign of where Gigi and JJ are. So in canon, they're dead. In canon, until they tell me otherwise, Kaylee Ray went somewhere and bashed their heads in with a bat, and we'll never see them again.
Or at least maimed.
Yeah.
At least maimed. Did this take place in the NXT parking lot?
Yes.
Oh, well.
Technically, yes.
So stealing a credit card, fine.
Yeah.
Assault in the parking lot, good.
Yeah.
Getting beat up at work, restraining order.
Yes.
Okay.
JJ Blood says, can we just get Gigi putting on bangers, please? No, you can't. She's dead. Kaylee Ray murdered her tonight. It's terrible.
Yeah, sorry.
I would have loved to seen it too, but they decided not to use her that way.
Hope there's banger matches in heaven.
So this is what we get now. Bron Wagner says, I like that name, Bron Wagner. That's funny.
Blonde Wagner.
Toxic Attraction is great, but they've been made to look really weak from losing last week, taking the hell beaten out of them. and kidnapped this week. Yeah, I mean they also have never defended their titles that they won in October. So, yeah. Now, here's where we get to the meat of the thing. Okay?
Meat.
Meat.
Happy Keith, please. 90 days are up. Woo-hoo!
That's true.
Sorry, go ahead.
Idris and Malik are backstage. Idris Enofe and Malik, and they're trying to come up with the name of their tag team. And they say Team Idris and Malik. No. Team Malik and Idris. And I'm like, that's the best thing. And then they come up with, I can't remember. They come up with something, and then
big, bold, and confident, or something.
Big, bold, and brash, brave, bold, and confident.
That's
we'll
what
be Team BBC. Oh no, we can't do that. Which is, of course, a reference to
which Vince found out about yesterday. You cannot convince me he didn't find out what that was yesterday.
Didn't write this. No, he didn't write this. I'm saying it's a reference to Team PCB, which they had to call them Team PCB because they were going to call them a submission sorority, but then somebody Googled it afterwards.
Which they have a habit of doing. Googling the name after they go for the trademark, huh, Gunther?
Anyway, so yes, they wanted to name themselves the Big Black Cocks, but they decided not to actually do that.
There's already a Blackie dildo situation.
That's true. That's very true. And they say, they said, I think they actually settled on Malidris. Like
they're like Bennifer, like a celebrity couple name.
Right. But they said we're gonna have then we're gonna get Mandy Rose. He actually does the thing where he mimes an hourglass.
That's something Linda does. Like legit. Like, oh, she had a lovely figure.
She had a lovely figure. That's right. It's an hourglass figure. You know what else they say with the hourglass? Sands of time. So we get that, and then what would you say? Says Idris to Malik Blade. What would you say if you had Mandy Rose here right now? And Malik's like, oh gosh, I don't know. Oh, she's so pretty. Like, I don't know why we're doing this thing where he's like a 14-year-old boy. I don't understand why that's a thing that they were doing for him. But Mandy Rose opens the door right as he's talking about what he would say to her if she was there, because she's trying to run away from Kaylee Ray, and she trips and falls into his lap. And he looks up and he goes, thank you, which is like something from like a John Hughes movie from 1985. Like, it's just so terrible. And then she gets off and runs away, and as Kaylee Ray chases them through the locker room, and she starts trying to attack Mandy Rose, and Idris, in a face like, oh yeah, oh, this is so hot, because watching two women beat each other up is sexual to him. So, like, what happens when your coworkers have a match? Are you just like watching
jacket time?
Is it jacket time? Is it jacket time for Idris Enofe when his coworkers have a match with each other?
Yeah.
And anyway, they go off, and he said, come on, let's go. And Malik plays, oh, I need a minute. He's holding his coat over his lap, and he says, I need a minute. Come on, we gotta go. No, man, I need a minute, because he's got a boner. He's got a big old boner, and he's very embarrassed to say. This is one of the most embarrassing segments of wrestling I've ever seen. All of it, from top to bottom.
And we're talking about wrestling, which has a lot of embarrassing moments, which are the only times that a non-wrestling fan walks in and sees the television. The Funkadactyls don't hold a care. The Funkadactyls were high art compared to this. This was terrible. I mean, every part of this was terrible. Like, Mandy actually did okay.
Yeah.
But everything around this was like the Attitude Era, but it's the high school production of the Attitude Era 20 years later.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah. The Nurguru says, tell me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the segments on this show have all the quality of the first 5 minutes of a porn movie. And it's true. That's how bad the acting and writing is and everything.
Yeah. Vince found out about the category BBC and he wrote this based on it. I'm convinced.
The NMEH says, I never sent a super chat, but here it is, the first day of Black History Month, and they gave us that Edris Enofe and Malik Blade segment. Who thought that was a good idea? This whole show was just...
Did they acknowledge Black History Month?
No, they did not. No, they'll do that on Raw next week. Maybe they'll do it on SmackDown too.
It's the first of the month.
They always do the thing where they'll have like R-Truth and Montez Ford read solemnly from speeches by Martin Luther King that are taken out of context, where he doesn't actually say anything controversial. And then
they'll ask him to host WrestleMania with a racist, like 4 months later, like a known, and not like a cusp racist, like a racist.
Myron Kidd said that segment with Mandy Rose with a black tag team calling themselves BBC did not need to happen on Black History Month.
Ever, but yeah, made worse.
Mark Losper says it's also a PG product that's trying to be edgy with jokes about BBCs and focusing 90% of the show around how attractive one woman on the roster is. Also, it's WWE. Give them no quarter literally ever. Oh, don't worry. I never.
Oh, buddy.
Never, yeah. Mark Losper says you two are invited to the cookout. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. I
cannot wait for Grapsity. I cannot wait for Grapsity on Saturday.
It's good. Oh, righteous
all timer.
Good Jesus. I just want to see Will and Phil just sit back and just let Reg go for an hour. Oh, that'll be fun.
It's gonna be beautiful.
So that was this part of it, right? Then we get before the next thing with Mandy and Kaylee Ray, I think we should also talk about how this is basically it's all romantic comedy, because we come now to Persia sitting there. She's I thought she was swiping right on Tinder, because that's another thing people have done on NXT 2.0 in canon, is sit backstage with their phone and swipe right on Tinder.
In my notes, it says, where did the rest of the hot girls backstage go?
Budget.
Remember when it was a harem?
Budget cuts. So she's actually looking through Duke Hudson's Instagram, and then Indy comes up with Dexter Lumis. She's like, are you still looking at Dexter's Instagram? Dude, he's hot. I like him, but he's not good for you. Like, I like a bad boy. Blah blah blah. And like we're very excited to have our tag match in 2 weeks or whatever. And then the Beej shows up. The other half of Brooks and Dunne, whatever the fuck they're called. The one who's in love with the one who's in love with Caden Carter.
But he's not, but he kind of maybe is. He doesn't know.
He says, oh, gosh, I wish I had what you two guys have. I mean, not really. I don't want to actually marry Caden. I mean, not yet. I mean, maybe I could. I'm not really sure, though. Oh, geez, she's just so hot and purty. How do I even talk to her? And then Indy says, well, you know, the guy's talking too much. It's really a turnoff. The less said, the better. And then she says, that's why I like Dexter. Nonverbal communication is very sexy. And then she looks at him and says, so Dexter, what are you thinking? And Dexter just looks at her and she's like, oh my God. Okay. Well, you guys said we're going to go to the private room or whatever the fuck she says. The hot tub. That's right. A hot tub. And the Beej is like, oh, well, that's the hot tub look. Oh, well, I got to memorize it. The hot tub look. Wow. Hot tub look. Oh geez. Caden likes the hot tub look. And then he looks over at Persia, and I guess he tries the hot tub look on her. And she goes, I'm into somebody else. He's like, oh, me too. I mean, not really, though. I mean, I could be if she was into me, though, but I'm not really sure. I mean, I want to marry her, but I don't. Hot tub. Like, it's the worst. One of the things that Scotty Too Hottie said that he had a problem with, and why he wanted to leave NXT.
A man whose name was Scotty Too Hottie.
That's true. He said to Vince, can we get some actors? Can we try and recruit some actors, Broadway actors, theater actors, people with TV experience to help us, to like, maybe they can help us, like they could be the performers and stuff, and they could, and Vince told him, we don't act, we react. But what are you doing with these segments then? You're asking these people who have no experience acting to be actors, and to also act terrible scripts. These are terrible scripts that you're giving them to do. And you're asking these people who have no acting experience and you're not giving them any acting training. Like, maybe hire a former Broadway actor to be an acting coach to like help the Beej try and say things like a human being so he doesn't come off as really, really weird.
My parents have had to sit through a lot of boner jokes, so I'm going to give them this. In 7th grade, I was in a musical called The Boyfriend, and I had the lead because I was great, and I didn't tell them, and they just showed up, and we were all, we didn't know what we were doing, and we kind of all looked like little harlots because the stage makeup was insane. The guy that I played counter to was better in 7th grade at this than he is now. And you know what? He probably wants to be a wrestler. And you know what? John Moxley was right in his interview on the way out. Like, then go hire actors. This isn't wrestling. This isn't even sports entertainment. Yeah. And normally I make that joke because of the entertainment part, but this isn't even rooted in a combat sport anymore. Yeah. Like, this is so far away. So it's just terrible. I also don't think we should be perpetuating the idea that women don't like it when men don't communicate with their words. That seems like a bad idea. We like it when you say things, guys. Just gonna go ahead and throw that one out there.
But yes, you do, but probably not if you're the Beej who's going, oh, but I can't, I like her, but I don't.
That's not exactly communication either, I would argue. And also, the guy that's not talking is a serial killer. So, but this was just like, I can't believe what I'm watching with this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
DJ Page says, my friend and I call Brooks and Jensen the good old boys. And what's kind of funny is that their names isn't actually Brooks and Jensen. I'm not going to tell you which one of those two names you got wrong, but that's the point, is that nobody knows what their actual name is. So everybody calls them something different. For me, they will always be Double Vest in the Beej.
Double Vest in the Beej.
Mark Losper says, we're American schools like this. If this guy showed up at an Australian school, he would have gotten bashed a lot. Yeah, it's very true. No, they were not like this. I mean, only like sitcoms on TV.
No humans have ever acted like this.
No. So that's what we got there. This is a good
point. My bad.
We got the next thing as part of this. We got Mandy Rose running into catering, or the break room, shooing her, get out of here. Don't look at me. Go away. And she takes a water or whatever. And then Kaylee Ray somehow got in there ahead of her. And she's hiding behind the counter, and she stands up and takes a bowl of spaghetti, which you'd probably just have hanging out open in the guest room. Of
course.
In the break room. And she dumps the bowl of spaghetti ostensibly onto Mandy Rose's head, though it mostly hits her shoulder. And there's, oh my God, spaghetti, it's all over me. What is this stuff? It's spaghetti, but what else is it? And then Kaylee Ray tries to throw a cake at her. I say tries to because she misses entirely. We have a super chat about that. Hold on 1 second. I got this. I want to miss it. I don't want to miss it. That's very funny. Chris Robinson says, now I have a question about KLR and Mandy. How in the blue hell can you throw a cake at someone, have it hit them, and fall on the ground in one piece? Like it bounced off of her, kind of, and then just hit the ground in one piece.
Alex, the alternative is to get hit with a baseball bat. And Mandy Rose acted like a bowl of spaghetti.
Yeah, it's true.
Was the worst thing. But now I know why there's a bowl of spaghetti around, because Nikita Strauss thinks the secret to rapping is to copy Eminem. So he's like, Mom, spaghetti. She's like, I need to make some
Nikita
spaghetti.
Nikita Lyons.
What did I said Nikita Strauss? I'm sorry. She's a very skilled musician who clearly practices her guitar skills 900 hours a day.
Mark Losper says, Spaghetti and the Boners, do they open for Hootie and the Blowfish?
Yes.
Yes.
You know what? Yes.
Mark Losper also says, at this point, I think Mandy Rose's reign is an elaborate rib. The stated story is that wrestling means nothing to her. She wins no matches clean, and 90% of the show revolves around her freaking pool. This is white hot garbage. Yeah, it's not.
Don't insult the pool, man.
It's
the
not.
pool didn't do anything wrong.
It's not great. So anyway, if she gets away from, she falls over a lot while trying to run away from Kaylee Ray, and then after the big tag match main event, finally she's chased all the way to the ring, and Kaylee Ray corners her up against the ropes and says, "I don't want my match at Vengeance Day. I want it next week." And she forces Mandy Rose to agree to it because she's got spaghetti in her hair. And then she does her finisher to her, but doesn't ever hit her with the bat, because that would just be, what do they call it? Gory self-mutilation?
Gory self-mutilation.
It would, we can't do that. We can have Mandy Rose degrade herself in every way possible, but blading is just a no-go. Can't do it. Oh man, I just don't even know.
Like, she has a baseball bat and Mandy Rose was shrieking about spaghetti.
Yeah. Well, maybe, as somebody says, maybe the spaghetti was cold. That cannot have felt good.
No, I don't think it felt good. Don't get me wrong. But when you see the woman who's been carrying around a baseball bat and notably probably bashed in the brains of your lackeys, maybe be like a little more scared of that.
Next week, everybody set your DVRs.
What's a DVR?
It's the thing in the box that records the things. Like it used to be a VCR. It used to be a VCR, but now it's a DVR. No, my nephew came over. He set the whole thing up for me. It's just a button you got to push.
Oh, like the TiVo.
Yeah, it used to be the TiVo, but they're not TiVos anymore. I used to call them TiVos until a few months ago, and my nephew set me straight. They're not TiVos anymore.
Oh, I still call it the TiVo.
But anyway, well, you got whatever you want, but I'm just saying that's just, but anyway. They're because of the Olympics, because of the Winter Olympics, which I love the figure skating. But because of the Olympics, they're going to be on the USA Network. They're going to move over to the Sci-Fi. So starting next week, they're going to be on the Sci-Fi. So they're going to do the Sci-Fi next week for Mandy Rose versus the KLR. And then the next week for Vengeance Day, it's also going to be on the Sci-Fi. Now, they changed the Sci-Fi. It used to be spelled differently. It used to be pronounced SCIFI. But people would say that looks like Skiffy. And it's not Skiffy, it's Sci-Fi, but it's spelled correctly. Now they changed it to the SYFY. So it might be different on your little box there. You might have to go through and find out what channel it's on so you can program your TiVo or whatever.
That is very confusing.
It's so complex, is it not?
I don't
watch the Sci-Fi Network at all. I'm not into the Star Wars or the Star Trek or what have you. I'm not really into that myself. I'm not. No judgment if you are, but it's just not my thing.
The Battlestar Galactica that the kids left, not for me. Not for me.
No.
Well, I guess we'll be watching a different channel next week. I'll have to set a reminder.
Yeah, that's right. And it's great because they have their big, huge women's title match next week, and then Vengeance Day also on Sci-Fi. They're gonna pull like a 200,000 people watching it.
It's gonna be so bad.
It's gonna be so bad.
It's gonna be so bad.
Geez.
You know what though? Maybe some good old fashioned sci-fi nerds will see Mandy Rose and be like, "I'm into this."
Oh my goodness! Look at her hourglass figure.
Because that's how people act.
Yes.
Speaking of the figure skating, I was a figure skater. I just want you to know I landed a double jump almost 4 times.
Almost 4 times. Well, look at you.
I know.
3.5 double jumps.
I was pretty gifted. I could have been a figure skater / wanted to be in NXT if I had just stuck with it.
Oh, yeah. I played hockey. They didn't have women's hockey when I was young, so I played with the boys because I was never very graceful, but I could fill up a goal like nobody. So that was my thing.
Did you ever see that documentary, The Mighty Ducks?
Oh yes, of course, with the with Martin Sheen's son, not the cokehead, the other one. The Estevez.
Yes, the Gordon Bombay,
Yes,
if you would.
Yes. Very nice.
Very nice program. Very nice picture.
Yeah. It's so funny because they're gonna their whole demographic they do well in is absolutely the demographic
That watches the Olympics. 100%.
They're gonna lose all of everything. 48,000 people are gonna watch next week. It's gonna be a bloodbath. Oh my goodness.
It's gonna be bad.
The bowl of cold spaghetti was Tony D's dinner.
Hey! I'm eating some pasta back here.
What are you doing, freaking Mandy Rose? This is my dinner you got in your head.
I didn't understand why the Mandy Rose was back here. I was just trying to eat my dinner.
Oh, it's never a good episode when Tony D isn't on there.
No.
That's a problem. Mark Losper says, given this show, Kaylee Ray has to win next week, right? She won't, but that's the story here.
You would think that a murderer who took out the henchmen that have been protecting
you have to force the heel to give you the match, then you win the match. That's usually the way it works. That's usually the storyline is usually that way, that the heel won't give you the match because they're ducking you, and finally you force their hand, then you win the match. That's usually the way it works, but I don't think
unless they're calling them back up to the main roster, like unless they're bringing, but no, because then Toxic Attraction would have to lose all of the belts.
Yeah, they'd probably lose the belts the next week at Vengeance Day. They'd lose them to India and Persia. I mean, I'm assuming that would be the only way that I could think it would happen.
That feels like a weird duo to drop to, but everything feels weird.
But Indy's a former champion, and Persia's definitely a future one. She's great. I love what she does in the ring. But yeah,
they have to at some point on the main roster decide whether the women's tag division is a thing or not. And I keep thinking they're gonna do like they did with the Women's Revolution, where they just call up a bunch of people and they're like, "This is your tag division."
Yeah,
and then they keep not doing that. But I'm wondering if they're waiting for Bayley to return, and it's going to be a Bayley and Sasha thing.
Yeah, that's true. So Mark Losper again with the super chat about Nikita Lyons. This Nikita stuff is yet another episode of cultural sensitivity with Vincent K. McMahon. As for the lack of talent bit, I have to assume that nobody has the balls to tell Vince that this is a complete farce. I don't think anybody back there making decisions has any idea what good rapping is.
No, you don't think Bruce Pritchard has a good idea what good rapping is?
No, I don't think so.
If they cared about that, they would not have released Hit Row, because that was like an organic act. But,
that's very true.
No, old white guys are not as in tune with the rap as the kids are.
I don't know if you're into the whole the hip hop, but I
love those. The Bare Naked Ladies, those were some hip hop artists.
They were. They loved the hip hop.
That Jason Mraz is the best rapper I've ever heard.
I love his little hats. Zeke Jackson says, "Hey, Alex and Kate, thanks for reviewing NXT. Saray doesn't do it for me after the gimmick change. I don't know.
Yeah, because you're not a pervert weirdo, probably.
Yeah, Zeke, it's probably good for you that she doesn't do it for you. And thanks for the company while I bake cookies. That sounds lovely.
That sounds so much better than
I would love a fresh baked cookie right about now.
Yeah.
Mark Losper says, I've been doing random work in the background. Have you torn the abysmal Trick Williams promo apart yet? This is the worst segment of the year, contender. I mean, it's just Trick Williams at
Oh.
this point. I've kind of just learned to tune it out.
I don't even think that's a segment of worst segment on the show
No.
contender, to be honest.
No.
It wasn't great, but it was not boner in my lap, Dad.
Hey, I can't stand up because my wiener got hard when the lady laid in my lap.
But it's very possible that he went to bluechew.com and used the code Fightful, where all you have to do is pay shipping.
Mark Losper says, this is the truth. I also saw the same quote. I saw an amazing quote from Apollo Crews talking about who he wants to face from NXT. He named Pete Dunne, Ciampa, Roddy Strong, and literally said, Walter. He's another guy. Gunther. Sorry about that. I got that wrong. And the editorial from Mark Losper is, this brand is doomed. It is. It is doomed.
Correct.
It is very doomed. So James Zepper says, so who from NXT Black and Gold are we sending back in time to Terminator this shit? Can we send Walter back to kill Gunther? Because then we could actually have him come back and he's like, I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle to go kill myself. A different version of me. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Hamanacito Gomez says, has NXT lost over 200,000 from Black and Gold to 2.0? I mean, more than that, I think, in some
At
some
least,
ways.
yeah.
Team Kalex, if you know, how much is USA paying for NXT yearly? I don't know, but they're not getting their money's worth.
No. And I would imagine they're not happy.
Yeah.
I think that's part of why we're going to see, like, it sounds like Dolph Ziggler is going to come down for a little bit. Like, I think that's their way of trying to appease people.
Yeah. I mean, they don't have, they've got like Santos for Braun Breaker. I guess they're going to keep him longer in the NXT longer than I thought they were going to. He's got to beat Dolph Ziggler somewhere along the line before he faces
Grayson Waller,
probably at the matinee they're going to do in Dallas for WrestleMania weekend. Luis says it's a package deal with Raw. That USA is like, they getting it is like a 2-for-1 special or whatever. Buy one, get one free. I love the BOGO.
2-for-1.
I love the BOGO at the Payless. Mark Losper says, genuinely, I think that you could end every single promo segment on this show with, and I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids. And it would fit perfectly.
Yeah.
Jay Blood says, every time I watch this show, I consistently wonder after every segment if the dumb crap I just saw was the thing to finally make Alex stroke out.
I do too, and I'm his co-host, so I'm like, one of these days I'm going to be doing this alone, honestly, because you're going to be catatonic. This
stuff is just dumbfoundingly stupid, but it doesn't ultimately matter in any way in the long term. Like, the stuff that they do, like, nothing really matters on Raw and SmackDown, which is why it's so angering. But the decisions they make have rippling effects that screw up the future of everybody in that company. Like the stuff they did with Big E, if that didn't make me stroke out, I don't know what would. But like that, yeah.
This is small potatoes.
It is true. Alan Marks says, if this were broadcast television, I would write the FCC and petition to cancel their broadcast license, on account of the boners. Wrastlin' Regal, which is a fantastic name. Wrastlin' Regal says, so Adam Cole makes his Rumble debut in 2018. Fast forward 4 years, we get Shane McMahon. Something is very wrong. Dummies, yeah. They could have literally, especially with the women's Rumble, which was like, I think they had 12 full-time women on the actual roster who were in the Rumble out of 30. They could have brought up some women from NXT. They could have done Mandy Rose. God. Like they could have done Raquel. They could have brought up a lot of them.
Raquel, Kaylee Ray, Dakota Kai, probably. Like there's
TG and JJ could have done it.
Yeah, Io Shirai is.
Yeah,
why you didn't have Asuka, who I think is cleared to wrestle now, and Io Shirai having some incredible moment and Rumble is beyond me. That is so weird.
Yeah. Paul Hensler has replied to the JW Pringle donation challenge and says, "Sir Pringle, I am humbled by your charitable act and promise to reciprocate."
Oh, so I'll find out.
That's very good.
JW Pringle, you can DM me and tell me what charity you would like him to donate to. I'm barely a host anymore. I'm just a go-between for JW Pringle in my chat.
So boy. R26 says, didn't watch NXT, but a get well soon to Leo Rush and Riho. And screw those that gave them hate. Leo is mentally tougher than all his haters, and Riho wrestling almost a full match with a broken collarbone. That's just ridiculous. Is physically tougher than anyone gives her credit for. Oh, absolutely. She's a tough little son of a gun. And Leo Rush, man, just like
out of control.
Boy.
So skilled. Such a skilled wrestler.
And just the idea that well, I slipped on some shit that was thrown into the ring, and that's why I'm going to be out for several weeks. Is it terrible? No, that's not good. Hold on. We got a few more here. Keith Lee officially free. Let's see what happens there. Nurguru says the Limitless One is now truly limitless. The Nurguru says this chat is for Becky and Lita only, and also Kalex. So much of you guys the past week is gloriously sour.
Oh, thank you.
That's been great.
We prefer limitlessly sour. No, I'm
Brendan Tungate says, thank you all for what you do. Watching after basketball depressed me. Also, to the PG point, there are tons of amazing, smart TV shows with that rating.
SpongeBob is smarter than this with that rating.
That was something that Cameron Grimes said. He went a whole deal with Carmelo Hayes' haircut and how it looks like a pineapple. And it looks like SpongeBob's house, which makes Trick Williams Squidward. But the problem with that is the entire time that Carmelo Hayes was out in the middle of the ring, he was wearing a hat. So we did not know what his if you're gonna write a damn joke for Cameron Grimes to make fun of a dude's haircut, at least run it by wardrobe so he's not out there wearing a hat, so there's no way Cameron Grimes could even know what his hair looks like.
Alex, the pants you're wearing right now are so stupid.
They are. Joke's on you, I'm not wearing pants.
Hey!
Hello.
Oh, you're so bad.
No, Sean Blanford says, here's my weekly donation to the Keep Kalex Sane Fund. By the time you read this, I should be asleep since I have an early work day tomorrow. So hope you two have a great week, and may Gabagool would be with you both. And also with you, sir.
With you. Also, we have an extra half hour today, and so many of you have stuck around. I just want to, first of all, say to Sean, and second of all, say thank you to you guys for sticking around. I appreciate it.
We have an all-timer for the Regal Rap this week. An all-timer.
Is it penned by Nikita Lyons?
It's not. It's not. Shot Kid says, don't need NXT 2.0 to enjoy Kalex. However, I did finally watch Hayashishita. I think that's what that says. Hayashishita, a series from last June. Holy shit. I have not watched that. I should watch that. And thank you also for the Humper chat from R26 about the investors call. We'll see what happens with that. I don't know. The investor call is always an adventure. Okay.
And weirdly, the most contentious chats. If you're such a dork that you're sitting around on an investor's call.
Yeah.
And I say that as a dork who sometimes sits in on the investor calls because I find them interesting. At least police yourself to not drive our mods nuts.
Hey, what's that over there? Says, I would love to see Chris Bay versus Carmelo Hayes. And I also would love to see that. That would be great.
Hell yeah.
Let's get that forbidden door open. Okay. Here you go, everybody. Here you go. Tonight's Regal Rap, courtesy of Zach Barber, as it is every week. It is William Regal rapping Miss Jackson by Outkast. So this will be fun. Okay. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. I never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize 1,000,000,000 times. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize 1,000,000,000 times. My baby's drama mama don't like me. She been doing things like having them boys come from her neighborhood to the studio trying to fight me. She needs to get a piece of the American pie and take a bite out. That's my house. I'll disconnect the cable and turn the lights out and let her know her grandchild is a baby and not a paycheck. Private school, daycare, shit, medical bills. I pay that. I love your mom and everything, but see, I ain't the only one who laid down. She want to rib you up to start a custody war. My lawyers stayed down. She never got the chance to hear my side of the story. We was divided. She had fish fries, cookouts for my child's birthday. I ain't invited. Despite it, I show her the utmost respect when I fall through. All you do is defend that lady when I call you. Yeah? I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. I never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize 1,000,000,000,000 times. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize 1,000,000,000 times. Thank you.
You didn't say War Games.
It's so sad now because he's not with the company anymore. So, War Games.
Thank you. Thank you. There was something right in the beginning of that super fresh verse right off the top of your head, William Regal, that the visual of William Regal just like spitting in a recording studio and someone's voice being set down.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real.
Oh, beautiful.
Now
that is someone who is a wrestler and a rap artist.
Yeah. Oh,
William Regal.
William Regal. My God, perfect. Yeah. Thanks everybody. I don't know when we're gonna do this, but at some point, when there isn't everything to talk about from a terrible episode of NXT, we are going to do a pilot episode of Have You Heard? Which is just Linda and Sheila talking about wrestling rumors. It is a show I want to pitch to Sean, and so we're going to do that as a pilot episode for one of these half hours of February. If you guys like that kind of thing,
and you do, I don't actually care if you guys do because I love it. So, and I'm here to pop myself. I'm glad you guys usually like stuff like that, but Linda and Sheila aren't there for me. Also, there's someone in my life who said, you haven't done any arts and crafts in a while for Tuesdays. Is everything okay? So just so you know where we're at.
Arts and crafts is great.
It was like, I thought you did arts and crafts on Tuesdays. Because super gluing meat to a mask is an arts and crafts project.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be good. All right.
Anyway, you can find me at Ms. Kate Fabe on Twitter.
Do that. You
can find me on Fridays with Sean Ross Sapp, except last week where I got to rock with this guy again during the AEW Rampage and SmackDown post show, and Wednesdays talking all things All Elite on the Mark Order podcast. Join us.
Yes, do that. You can find me on the Twitter at Alex Graps. On Fightful Select, I do a Raw and SmackDown reviews as well. Hey, if you missed it, we had on the Fightful Select, we had a review of the Royal Rumble, which was terrible. The review was great. The show was terrible.
Almost 20% of you, over 20% of you watched it.
Yeah.
Like unreal to me.
Yeah. Like 1 out of every 5 person who subscribes to Fightful Select watched it, which was kind of awesome.
Insane.
So that was really cool. So we're going to probably do that again with Elimination Chamber, but I'm not going to watch the show. But Kate might, and then tell me what happened. And we'll get my reaction in real time. So that'll be wacky.
That'll be so fun.
Anyway, have fun, guys. Be well for the rest of the week. As always, even though we didn't get any Tony D this week, still, it is my duty to say, keep cool, Gabagool.